You see it. Something else coming here that we don't need, but we just can't say no to. Viewer Dave out of Chicago, where we just were, up at McCacken, emailed us and said, you guys have use for this rolling chassis? Because I just put a roadster shop underneath my car. And I think you might need this thing. So I said, yeah, come on, bring it. I'm not going back to Chicago. So that's what he did. Let's go get acquainted to Mr. Davo here. We got to have a talk here. Dave Rooney from Illinois came over. Having watched the channel, he's a great friend now. I mean, we spoke on the phone. We've emailed back and forth a couple times. And he offered up this running gear out of his 68 442 that ultimately, like I said before, received a Roadster Shop chassis, LS3, I believe he's got in it. And he had this left over. He and I came to an accord. And to be perfectly frank, there's much, much, much more here than I thought I was going to be getting. Even though it says Edelbrock 455 on it, that's the intake. This is a G block 400, 68 to 69, 400. It does not have a VIN on it. It's got a restamp, probably been rebuilt. So I'm going to guess that it is a 68 because it came out of a 68. The date code is a 36. So we'll assume it's the 36th day of 68. Let's get into the nitty gritty here real quick okay? All right, what we have here is a 1968 A-body frame, and we've gone over this in the past. It has that fancy little skid plate on the front of the cross member underneath the engine. That makes it a 68, along with these notches in the top of the frame here for the rear wheel well accommodations. A 69 would look like this, but does not have the skid plate underneath the front. That makes 68, 69 one-year only frames. Okay. We got a heavy-duty sway bar in the front. We have coil-over shocks. We have disc brake conversion. We have this 400 G code block with a Holley Sniper EFI, an HEI distributor. Seems like we have some ceramic-coated headers. We have a Tremec 5-speed. We have a custom drive shaft to accommodate that 5-speed. We have a full Flowmaster exhaust with an H-pipe. The car was a coupe, so it does not have a boxed-in frame. Oh, by the way, that's a billet aluminum HEI distributor. We have 15-inch full chrome rally wheels with relatively new radial TAs. We have an O rear with a TO, Thomas Oscar. That TO is for a 391 coded rear. Don't know if those are the gears that are in it. That is the stamp that's on the housing. Not that it matters much, but relatively new shocks in the back. It's got poly bushings in the rear control arms, because you can tell because it has these additional retainers on the outside of the bushings. My Gold car has the same thing. These are, in fact, box lower control arms with a rear anti-sway bar. There's a lot here. There is a whole lot here. And what we're going to do with it, I'm not entirely sure. We have options. We could take the disc brakes off. We have the booster and master inside, and we can turn that Cutlass convertible that's in that trailer from a powered drum brake car to a powered disc brake car. We can put this correct O rear in the Ramrod, which has a Pontiac 390 rear. So that would make the Ramrod correct. The options are almost too plentiful here. Obviously, we can put a body on this. We can kind of restore this. Dave assures me that this runs, and I have no reason to believe it won't. I mean, this guy is a straight shooter. He's as straight as they come. Man, what a great contact. Spare box control arms, an anti-sway bar, spare exhaust system. We could put the Tremec and the 400 in skid mark. We could put the 400 in skid mark with a Muncie, and we can put the Tremec in the 72 Vet. I got to process this. I got to think about all the things that we could do here. All right, going to give these things a little bit more thought here. It's so exciting because I could make Alyssa's car better. I could make the Ramrod better. We could make the Vet better with that Tremec. We can make Alyssa's car a whole lot better. We have the motor mount plates. We have everything we need because A body is an A body is an A body. We have everything we need to put this 400 G block in the El Camino. This is so cool. I need a shop because I could be working on 5 things at once if I had a shop, as opposed to my little 2-car garage. Good problems to have, good people to know. Let's revisit this topic a little bit, shall we? The topic that is, this whole game of hot rodding. It brings a lot of like-minded people together, and I don't really know how this is gonna work out, but Dave Rooney watches the channel. Dave Rooney owns a saffron yellow 68442. Dave Rooney decides that this 400 and that Tremec 5-speed is just not what he's looking for. So he commissions with Roadster Shop Chassis to buy a chassis, powder-coated, built, done. And he delivers that Roadster Shop chassis along with said 68442 to V8 Speed and Restoration, right? And we talked about that. And I'm like, unbeknownst to me, David Rooney is watching our YouTube channel. And he likes the work we're doing on Mr. Jones, and he likes everything he sees. So he sends an email. And the email goes something like this: do you want this? And I'm thinking, man, I don't need another project. I don't need another project. And then you're going to ask me, why is it here? Well, why it's here is because he and I came to an agreement and a deal that I simply couldn't pass up. And he put it on his trailer, and he took time out of his schedule and off from work and drove from Chicago, where we just were, down to New York to deliver it to me. And we hang out in the garage. I put Italian meats and cheeses and olives on the workbench because that's what a good Italian does. You got to feed the guests, man. You got to give the fans what they want, as they say. So Dave puts it on his trailer, and he drives here, and he's excited to come and meet me and the cars and the shop and the cars and the parts. And we spend an entire evening snacking and talking about cars and talking, more importantly, about life. And Dave and I become, in real short order, really good buddies. I mean, we start talking about family and work. A lot of the stuff that John and Joe and I already talk about on our own, right? Dave's 10 years older than I am. So he's been through a couple more things than I've gone through. And we're able to connect on a level that working men connect on. Guys that make something out of nothing and they do it every day. You got to use your hands and put your hands to work. And that's that kind of, and I'm not trying to be machismo about it. I'm just stating a fact. When you are male or female, doesn't matter. When you are a person that is just accustomed to creating things with your brain and your hands and your body, when you find people like that, you hit the ground running. There's no falsehoods. There's no ulterior motives when you guys are speaking. It's just the way it's supposed to be. Dave Rooney's no different. Dave Rooney saw that we would have a use for this more so than he. I mean, Dave went, like I said, man, he's got LS3 in that thing with a 6-speed. So he went the other way. I'm not saying we're going to do that with Mr. Jones. We're certainly not going to do that with the OG. But I'm not saying we're not going to build a car like that someday. He's invited us to go there and see the car and drive the car at some point. And I think we're going to have to. So there's another little story here about this thing. Stand by. With respect to making video and everything, and Even Dave's like, sometimes, do you have a script? Sometimes you just go on about stuff and it sounds like you have a script. Well, oftentimes I don't. I have a script when I'm talking about part numbers and date codes and things, because you want to have that that delivery ought to be very methodic and very clear and concise and accurate. But when you're just talking from the gut, I don't do a script. I just blah, 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 blah. This car is now a Restomod on that fancy chassis with that fancy motor, and the balance of the guts are here. And I'm saying to myself, like Skidmark, like the Mustang, why are you here? Why are you with me right now? What's your job? What is your job, chassis thing, pile, rolling unit? What's your job? So Dave then informs me that V8 Speed and Restoration have pictures of this car on their website. And Dave informs me that there's even a little video of the rust repair they did on the dash, similar to the Mr. Jones car. So I go on the website. Dave sends me a link to their website, and I do that. And I check with another buddy first who knows of this company, and I don't know anybody personally at this V8 Speed and Restoration. I do know who Kevin Ostie is. So Steve-O gets on the phone, man, and I call. And the young lady at the desk, she puts me on hold, and Kevin answers the phone. And I tell him who I am, Steve from the Auto Refinery, and I have Dave Rooney's chassis and drivetrain from the 68 442. And he's like, oh, Dave's a great guy. That's a cool car. I'm glad that thing ended up with somebody who appreciates what it is. So we just start talking about cars and people and parts. And Kevin and I begin to talk about how like-minded people connect. And just because you're a car person doesn't mean you're of the same cloth. Everybody's in this car world, but it could be off-roading. It could be drag racing. It could be low riders. There is a common denominator throughout all of that. But when you get into messing with old rusty cars at this level, that thread oftentimes gets a little thinner. And when you can find somebody on that same thread, it's pretty cool to be able to lock elbows with them. So we're going to put a video together about what we're going to do with this frame. We're going to keep Kevin and the boys over there at V8 Speed and Restoration apprised as to what we're doing with it. Dave, of course, will know what we're doing with it the whole way. Dave kind of wanted to be like Ohio Nick. Nick Weaver, our buddy who brought us the parts to fix the roof of this car. Dave wanted to be a part of that. So that's why he prompted the whole, meeting, you would call it, by bringing this thing down here. Which was very cool of him. Very, very cool of him to come down here and spend an afternoon with me and check out everything I have to share and share with me everything about his deal. So we're going to have a couple meetings. We're going to have a couple strategic outlines. But we also have to be practical. Do we want another car? Do we want to use the pieces of this to make the cars we already have better versions of what they are? The VIN's not on this block. Kevin sent me a cool video of the used dealer, like classic car dealer that actually sold this car to Dave. Kevin had that file, so he sent it to me, and it even says there, this is not a numbers matching block. It's a correct block. It's a G block, but it's got a different stamping on it, probably a replacement block, not even from another car. So, we don't have a carburetor, we don't have an intake, we obviously don't have a transmission, we don't have original wheels. There's not a lot of original stuff here. And we all know now, right, the original car is now a Restomod. Check it out. In addition to that chassis that Dave brought, which I am thrilled about, he left me a pile of parts, man. I wasn't expecting all this. He may have mentioned it on the phone, but I wasn't expecting all this. Yeah, he relieved himself of some stuff laying around that he wasn't going to use, but he found a good home for it right here. Let's open the stuff up, see what we got. An original shifter ball. Shift knob, look at that. The original one, though. Now, this would be for a car without a console because it has the shift pattern on it. Right? Remember, a car with a console, the shift pattern is on the console. Check it out. 442 shifter handle. Hurst 442. Not what we need for the Mr. Jones car, but I'm probably gonna put the shift knob on it and put it on display somewhere. That's definitely what I'm gonna do. Oh, this is cool. Let's open this up. Bring this to the bench. 68442 air cleaner assembly. Wowzer. Look at that thing. Let's pull it out of the wrapper here. It looks to be pretty nice. Aftermarket chrome lid. No gasket in here. And it does have that little raised kind of built-in washer on the bottom of it. Still cool. Still cool air cleaner lid. Definitely happy to have this. This might end up right on that spare parts motor at some point, once we know where we're putting that. So, all right, another project here. I'll close this part of the video out. We'll put this together in the way of some scenarios, and maybe we'll bring you along for some of the decision-making processes that come to mind and what we can do with it, what we ought to do with it. I have a couple of ideas, but that's that. And I promise you, I'm going to do my best to have this be the last addition to our fleet, because we're kind of packed. All right. Tune in. Keep you posted.